Hi, and welcome back to the Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services. Today, I came up with a different title, Saturday Sat Blab. Show and Tell Blab. Products, services, and or apps. Yeah, should be interesting. Hello, Hillary. How are you? We'll get started right away. Thanks for joining. Hi, welcome back to the Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business, products, and or services. Today we have Chuck Bartok, the one and only Chuck Bartok in the room. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Donald. Thank you very much. Is my
Great. You've
audio
got
any better?
Product or service or an app to talk about?
Yes, a very
software.
First of all, is my audio okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good now.
All right. I switched microphones. Maybe that's better. One of my associates came up with a couple of simple software, the regular program and the premium. They're very expensive, $17 and $27. And I would encourage the 27 only because there's more features. And it's a simple drag and drop website builder. The only other thing a person would need would obviously be a domain and hosting. And we do provide hosting for $45 a year, but that's another story. What I'll do is, this is simple. This is kind of for somebody really wanting to do some quick websites, for different reasons. There seems to be people that like to market quickly. I'm not one of them. We market over a slow, long period of time. But it's a cute tool. And again, obviously, I personally will offer a money-back guarantee if you don't like it. I mean, it's $27. It's not going to kill you one way or the other. But I normally don't do this. But we found out through our talk shows and so on that there are people that want something like this. Simple, easy to do. So if you would like, I could share the URL with you.
All right.
Should I put it down in the message spot?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll read it.
And extract it from there.
Okay. I don't know if it's a very simple. You got it? Okay, very good. And again, if somebody tries it and don't like it, my gosh, I'm easy to find on the internet. We're not here to stiff anybody. It may not be what somebody wants, so, but we've had a couple of happy people so far. Very simple. And again, if they want to get in touch with me, we do offer hosting for $45 annually. And that allows 5 domains on the same server. So anyway, I appreciate your time, Donald. We don't do this for a living, obviously. We do it because it's fun. Anyway, thanks an awful lot and look forward to being back again.
Well, I just had one question before you take off. With that now, the server and so basically a person could go to a local domain store and down at your local 7-Eleven, I guess you could pick up a domain name now.
Yes, almost anywhere.
Pick up a domain name and then go over. So it would be first, that would be their first step would be to go pick up a domain name and then go pick up your hosting services and your website builder, right?
Well, the website builder is available. Most people do have hosting already. We're not here to solicit hosting, but we do offer it for $45 a year. I would have to go back into my system and get the domain for that, Donald. But they can get in touch with me.
That's okay. Well, if they can get one, then they can they'll be linked to the other one. So that's great. Okay, cool.
There you go.
Well, I'll go ahead and take that.
Okay, I appreciate it, and we really all appreciate the service that you're providing, and keep it up.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, and
hi, welcome back to the Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services, or in this case, a podcast. How you doing, Andrew?
Pretty good.
So, Andrew Gale, this is really interesting stuff that you're talking about. So you want to give us a little bit of a rundown about what your podcast is about and how often you actually are producing this podcast?
Yeah, we produce our podcast every Friday, but it gets published on the Monday. That might change because we're still very new. But the gist of the podcast is that you have two successful founders. Me, I have a low six-figure company that just, it's been launched a year and we just reached six figures. And then my partner on the podcast is at mid six figures. And so we talk about the problems that we have every week, which are new every single week, on what our companies are facing.
Oh, cool. So, but your companies are in what industry or which sector are your companies running in?
Two different industries, but the problems don't really relate to the industries. I'm in the real estate industry for actual agents, not consumer-based. And then he's more consumer-based. His company teaches people how to code. It's codeavengers.com. It's a pretty big site. And then mine is flyercode.com.
Okay, cool. Well, that's great. What I'd like to do, though, is have you go ahead and share the links, the most relevant links for your podcast and for your company, if you'd like to. That's fine. And if you want to, you can have your friend come on at some point in time and talk about his company and his podcast. Because it seems to me like you've got two podcasts running kind of simultaneously or something.
No, it's the same podcast, but it's just discussing both of our problems. It's called The Life of Two Startups.
Okay, cool. That's a great title. I like that.
Yeah, we got a cool intro too. But yeah, it's just we're eventually gonna have guests on. We're still trying to figure out how to do a good podcast correctly. We're only in episode 4 now, so there's a lot of learning on like how to do proper conversations. But
the real technical stuff, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if you just listen, there's some really, really good content, because I know that not because I'm preaching it. I know that because I'm pitching problems that we have, and then we're learning from each other. And so I'm convinced that if I'm learning from the podcast about business, that the audience will too.
That's really cool. Yeah, there's one of the things too that a friend of mine have said that many times. He says, "Why aren't you taking all of this audio and putting it into a podcast?" Because sometimes I have some really in-depth discussions about certain business topics here on Blab.Cafe. But I think it's one of those things where I just have to get over those little technical humps, just to make sure that I feel comfortable uploading the content in a way where it's being consumed the right way, to the right audience.
And it's not only technical. It's if you've never done a podcast before, introing a podcast and just talking to the camera is weird with your friend there. You're like, oh yeah, hey, welcome to X podcast. You don't normally talk that way. So even like starting to talk in that language, it is like a complete new learning process. I think our podcasts are okay right now, but I think by episode 10 we'll be a lot better. Yeah,
that's cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. You've shared, that's the link for your particular podcast, right? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'll take a good look at that and listen to it. In the meantime, though, is there a link to the company that you were talking about as well?
Yeah, it's in the YouTube comments, but I'll link it on Blab as well.
Oh, okay, cool. That's great. Yeah, so what I'll do is and if you want to talk about that company as well, you're welcome to, because obviously that's a separate entity in itself, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and this is another thing I think what makes our podcast really good is that my company's focused on real estate agents. My co-host, his company is focused on developers or future developers. And what makes it good is that we can't sell to the people that we're trying to do the podcast to. So it keeps our podcast very pure. Like when we bring up something, we're talking about it because we think you'll learn from it or we'll learn from it. And we have no, goals to get anything from the audience other than to listen.
That's great.
Our companies don't benefit from the audience, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I've had people try to get me to monetize this already. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to make a buck out of this. This is more of a hobby, and it's also for promoting other businesses. I mean, that's the whole idea behind the show. So I can understand your angle there, because it's very important. It's a lot of fun too. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's why we do it. I mean, we do it. We record it on Fridays, but it's fun. It's cool to hash out your thoughts from the week. Just hear other people's opinions on it. I mean, I do a lot of outsourcing as far as my team and stuff. And so like I'll get directions from him and stuff. But if I didn't talk about it, I'd just be kind of going in blind, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's great. So we've got your links. That was really cool. So and like I said too, if you have any updates or any announcements or any kind of like big events coming up, just come by and do another Blab.Cafe.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna follow you right now. And
thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's nice meeting you, Andrew. We'll see you later.
Thanks, you too.
Hi, and welcome back to the Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services. Or in Robbie's case, this is a book you're going to be talking about, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can talk about the services that tie in. I'm a consultant who's written a book as opposed to an author who's going to write lots of other books.
Okay, cool. So what is that particular book about?
This book is called The Membership Economy, and it's about how organizations can apply principles of community and subscription to build loyalty among their members. And to write the book, I've been working as a consultant with companies like Netflix and Yahoo, SurveyMonkey, lots of digital natives for the last 15 years. And I started writing the book based on my work with those organizations. And then I realized as I was writing that it was really applicable to a lot of other kinds of organizations, everything from solopreneurs like you, or small businesses like Kepler's Books in my town in Menlo Park, California, all the way up to like the big guys like Weight Watchers and American Express, and all the major publishers. So the book expands to look at things that organizations can learn from one another, even if they're in very different industries and have very different organizational structures.
Wow. Sounds like you've been there.
I've left you speechless. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. And, you know, the book started when I, about 12 years ago, I was consulting with Netflix, and I was in love with their business model because I saw how, as a business person, it was recurring revenue. They were learning about me through my behavior, and they were applying that behavioral data toward improving the experience that I got. And I loved it as a consumer because I had, they were solving a problem for me. I always was able to have great professionally created video content for a fixed price.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's great. Well, what I do normally is I have people go ahead and share the links so people can get in contact with them. And in your case, you've got a couple of different things that you're available for people to use, right? Not only the book, but the consulting still, or I mean, how do you work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you
absolutely.
are doing consultation and stuff. Yeah, consulting.
Yeah, I'm a consultant who has a book. I'm not an author who occasionally consults. I've been at Booz Allen and Hamilton doing big firm consulting. I have my own, a consulting firm that I've been running for 15 years. So mostly what I like to do is be in the trenches with entrepreneurs. And I work with, startups and associations and bigger companies. I do a lot of speaking on this topic. So, I'm happy to talk to anyone. And if your viewers have specific questions right now, I'm happy to answer those too. Or if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or, we can just send them to the links if they're interested, and I can stop right now.
Okay.
whatever is the right.
No, what I was going to say.
If we need to go to a commercial break,
Yeah. No, what I was going to say is what we can do is just go ahead and I will grab your links and put them into the show notes over on YouTube. But in the meantime, we will go ahead and open up maybe somebody's got some questions for you. But I'm going to go ahead and pause this and then see what happens on the off. So I'm just going to pause this. Thanks for joining, Robbie.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Hi, welcome back to Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services, or in Ryan's case, a podcast. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So can you tell us what your podcast is about?
So the podcast is called easymarketingblog.com, the letters easy. and it's on iTunes and Stitcher and all that. And basically what we do is help small professional in-home service businesses like carpet cleaners, pressure washers, window cleaners, landscapers, things like that. We help them with starting, basically giving them information, kind of shop talk as far as marketing goes and sales and things like that to help them get going in their business. So,
oh, that's cool. And how long has this podcast been up and running?
I think since about March last year, I want to say March or April. So we have somewhere around 20, 25 episodes up. We do about 1,000 downloads a month.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, because I mean that's not a very. I mean, when you think about it in just the number of episodes, and then you think about the amount of downloads, that's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. We have about 300 or so downloads per episode, and then what happens is as we bring somebody in, a lot of times they'll go through those past 4 or 5 episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I was really, I was really adamant about getting my playlist on YouTube really laid out well, because I think it's that convenience that people just like being able to just scroll through the whole playlist, and
exactly.
Yeah, the convenience. It's really nice. Navigation. Yeah.
The cool thing about podcasting is, it's kind of a little bit of a different format, where what you're talking about with video podcasting is a little different from just audio. We find that a lot of people are listening in their trucks or while they work and things like that. So they'll actually start a 45-minute long episode. And like you were talking about people dropping off, they don't actually drop off because, as you know, iTunes podcast app will actually save your spot. So they're driving, they click it off, they go into the job, it's 15 minutes later, they start it back up, and they'll actually listen to them all the way through, but not at one time. Yeah,
that's cool. That's actually really nice to know. I actually didn't even know that, because I mean, when I'm listening to content that's a YouTube video, but if I have my, I can show you right now. If I'm watching or listening to a video, I can actually just close this, stick it in my pocket, and just have the earbuds in. So even though it's a video, I'm only listening to the audio. So if it's like some kind of motivational stuff, I can listen to it, and I don't have to sit there and look at the screen. So in that case, I am listening to a lot of content. So
I didn't realize that they offered the video on iTunes for podcasting until like 2 days ago. I was doing a podcast with another guy, and he was telling me that they post all theirs in video form, and I had no idea. But at the same time, I don't know that that the video is necessarily needed for the way that we, do our thing. But we hit Periscope pretty hard, and then we're going to be converting, and we're also hitting YouTube as well. But we try to do things in their native form. So for me, a video like this, I don't think I would unless it was somebody that I really wanted to put on YouTube with myself, I doubt I would put it on YouTube in this format. Just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's great. So you've got your link there.
Yep, that's the link to the podcast. And what I do is I'll just drop a link to my website too.
Okay, cool.
And the reason why I kind of hopped on was, Robbie was talking about what's the benefit if you don't have a product. And, my podcast we don't sell anything on there. And right. I don't necessarily even pitch my product. But what I do is I do graphic design, printing, direct mail. And I use my podcast as a way to get new people involved, to know who I am, and then also to build more depth with my current client base. So for me, content marketing is all about width and creating depth, but getting that in front of more people to create that width to get people into your pipeline. So
that's right. Yep. Yeah, I think it's this platform too, as you know, it's growing really fast, and I love it because it's so connected to Twitter. It's just everything's seamless now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Everybody says you have to have a podcast, you have to have a book and all that stuff, but I don't think until you actually do it, you understand why, right? So, but it definitely is a game changer. We've created so much depth with the people coming into our business through Periscope and podcasting and YouTube and all those things. So,
yeah. It's a nice tool to have. Because it's the content that you create it just stays there and anybody can see it whenever they want. So it makes it convenient.
Yep.
So
and we like to have a good mix too.
Ryan, we're going to go ahead and grab those links, and I will share them in the show notes over on YouTube. And if you want to make a note, this is Blab.Cafe number 84, so you can find that link a little bit quicker.
Cool.
So thanks for stopping by, Ryan.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
So welcome back to the Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business, products, and or services. We have Patrick from SupportMarket XEO. I almost said XEO, SEO. How you doing, Patrick?
Doing great. Happy to be on with you.
So can you tell us a little bit about what your products are working, how are you working your business, and what exactly your business does?
Our first product, the one we're kind of promoting in our launch right now, is reputation management for small business owners. And it's a cloud-based system to help a small business owner use his current customer base and to generate good reviews online to help generate his next customer.
Okay. So, well, you know what? I mean, I don't know a lot about that industry because the only thing I have been hearing stuff about is this thing called Yelp. I don't know much about it, but I know that some of these reviews that you hear on Yelp can be very detrimental to some companies.
Well, and the problem with Yelp is they pick and choose which reviews they let show, and so does Google, but Yelp is a lot more notorious for it. Yelp will always show any negative review and consider it legitimate, whereas if the person has never reviewed anything on Yelp before and they give you a very positive review, Yelp assumes automatically that it's a family member, friend, or some way that you manipulated it, so they automatically ban that review. And so sadly, you could have multiple reviews and they're going to show only the 3 bad ones and not the 15 good ones, which is really kind of sad. So what we encourage business owners to do is to create a funnel system that you funnel all your reviews through a property you control in the cloud. And the ones that have issues you can address. And the ones that have good reviews for you, then you encourage them to go out into Google Land and Yelp and Yahoo and Facebook. And like I said, we do that by building a funneling system for them. Okay.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good tool. And now, is that some kind of like a subscription-only system? How are you working it? So people have to come in and just subscribe, or what? How does it work?
Well, we do it as a monthly subscription for the business owner, because what the system does, it collects data from their customers online. Mm-hmm. It will send them reminder messages. It'll text to the business owner so he knows he has a review. It'll ping all the major review sites. It'll ping Facebook and Google Plus and Yelp, and it'll bring that into a dashboard and text the owner every time a new review shows. So he knows that he has something to deal with, good or bad. But when he uses the system correctly, he's funneling his current customers into a property that he's controlling. And then that property, if they leave a bad review, notifies the owner by text and email both. And if they leave a good review, also notifies the owner, but then encourages that person that, now since we know it's a good review, would you please take it to Google for us? Click on this link. Please take it to Yelp or Facebook. And the business owner can set up his choice of where he wants to direct them to. But that way the customer themselves are putting those reviews on, so they're not duplicate content or manipulated content. Right. They are legitimate content. We're just saying, before you tell them to go to Google, you should know what they're saying first.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that sounds pretty interesting. So what I'm going to do is ask you to go ahead and share your links, and we will post them into the show notes. And if you'll look at this link for the video tomorrow, on Blab.Cafe number 84, you will find that's where you're located. Thanks a lot, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for stopping by Blab.Cafe. This is Blab.Cafe number 84. It's been a great show. Lots of good content. We will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.